That's it. Thank you. Hi, friends. Just right there's fine, huh? Thanks. Hi, April. Hi, Trina. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Megan. Hi, Teresa, Cynthia, PJ, Carolyn, another Megan. Jessica's here. Rhonda's here. Janice is here. Kathleen, Donna. Hi. How are y'all? Sunny's here. Thank y'all for being here and supporting Team Ladybug. Trish is here. Kimberly's here. Hi, Kimberly. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Sharon. Tonight's bubbly is, what have I got tonight? Hold on. Just strawberry. Just strawberry. Hi, Jamie. Girl, yes, I still got my church clothes on from this morning, honey. Yes, I do. Hi, Eileen. Hi, Keith, Vincent. Hi, Pam. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Karen. You look forward to Wednesdays and Sundays. I'm glad to hear that. I am so glad to hear that. Hi, Elizabeth, honey. How you doing? It's pouring rain, y'all. We're going to get dumped on snow again tomorrow. I was talking last week when Keith and I think I was talking to y'all that we hadn't had snow before Christmas except one time since we've been married, but we've lived a lot of different places too. But I did see Central Virginia where we're at. It had been, was it 10 or 12 years, Keith? 10 or 12 years since the last time they had a December snow. And now we fix to have another one. So anyway, we're gearing up to work from here tomorrow. I think it's supposed to start snowing around 7 a.m.-ish and snow all the way to 2 or 3 o'clock. And it's not even going to make it to either 30 or 31 tomorrow. So that's too treacherous to drive in, especially when you have a drive like mine back and forth. So Hillary slipped over to the office today and got her computer. She's going to be working from her house. So we're going to try and hold the fort down. Okay. You get snow on Tuesday. PJ says, hi, Keith. Donna says, hello, Keith. Hi, Maria. How you doing, boo? Hi, Christy. What is bubbly drink? It's just sparkling water. I can't drink plain water. And some people say it tastes like an Alka-Seltzer, but I don't think that. It has a nice, this one's strawberry, so I love it. Cheers. It's real spicy, like crispy. It's real crispy. Girl, my hair looks great. Did I take the gray? No, I ain't took the gray away. This is my natural state. I just let it dry on its own. No curling iron, no nothing. No, I couldn't do it. You only got a dusting? Well, fingers crossed. You know, I've touched base with the team. If we don't get anything, obviously we'll go on in. But the time of day it's supposed to start snowing, and child, look, the only good garbage can I had to sled down my driveway on is broken, so I don't have another one. So yes. Right. Hi, Ramona. How you doing? Well, tonight we're going to talk about watercolor, but before we do, I have a new class dropping in January that I've been working on filming. I'm hoping I can finish it tomorrow, tweaking, you know, the little bits of it. Hold on, I got to pull it up here. I have a new class. Hold on, I got to get... So it has 12 parts to the class. This is going to drop online. How many of y'all would like to see your video skills improve, either for filming classes or for doing reels or for maybe little things that you would like to start put out and publishing? I have a new class dropping that's it's called Shoot, Edit, Shine. It has 12 parts to this online class. I'm going to take you through all of my equipment and show you what I use to hold my cameras, what kind of cameras I use, what kind of editing software I use, what kind of lighting I use, where to buy it, how much it costs, all the things. It is a 12-part course, and that's going to drop in January. So you couldn't find the app for Mobile Manicurist Boutique? You want the app, boo. You commenting on the app. Anyway, that's going to be my next online class that we put out is Shoot, edit and shine. If you shoot it the right way, then you edit it the right way, then you go shine as an artist. And this could apply for somebody that even, I don't know, decorates cakes instead of nails. But this will be a really thorough online course on how to edit your videos. People think, oh, girl, what you use to edit your photos with? That's what I get asked all the time. You don't want to know, child, because it's not just one app. My photos go through about 5 different edits on 5 different apps to give them the look that they have. Because how many of y'all know a picture never looks as good as they do in person? So my goal is to make my picture look as good as what they do in person, not to change it and add all the, not to make it look completely different, but to enhance it so it looks as good as it does if you're looking at it. So I'll have a price sometime this week, Sunny. I am down to the stage of being able to edit. I believe it's going to have 12 segments to it. I hope it doesn't go beyond that, but you need to break it up into segments. So if you are needing to, I don't know, if you need to hone in on the editing part, you can go right to that particular class within the class and work on that versus having to scroll through everything. So I'll have that this week, and it'll be go on to pre-order. But I am really passionate about that, and I'm really passionate about your photos looking good. That will be in there as well. Is my pro editing photo tips. I don't let those out. I don't teach those in any classes. I give you good photo editing tips, but my pro tips will be in that class. The class is called Shoot, Edit, Shine. Shoot, Edit, Shine. You're looking forward to that? Yes. So photography will be a part of that one, Donna. So, have I showed my Christmas cards to y'all? Because this kind of goes along with what we're doing tonight. I don't know if I've shown you. Look at my Christmas card, y'all. Girl, quit. Girl, quit. Look here. Oh, only a few. I got to show you what I've done with my Christmas cards. Can I take a second and do that? Because typically when I do my little babies, I just send them out and I'll put a little note with it. But I decided to turn these into an ornament this year. I've painted 100 mini Christmas cards since about July-ish maybe. And I haven't been able to sit down and work on it all together. But I've decided to put this on an ornament. And I want to show you what I've done. Okay, hold up. Let me get all my things. Here we go, Gigio. I'm going to turn you around. Oh, yes. So this is my ornaments that I've made. I have 100 bases made laying out there on my dining room table drying. And this little guy, I'm waiting on my corner punch to come because mine is so old it's not wanting to punch the corners, but I'll round those corners and I'm going to mount my little painting right here. So my German snowflake is made from this. My World Book Encyclopedia. This is a vintage book that's not even produced anymore. There were 2 of these, volume A through K and L through Z, and I have both. They're dated 1964. And there was some really pretty aqua pages in here I used. Girl, I got to keep them because that matched my tree upstairs. And then you can see I have hand folded every bit of that, and on the edges I've used my washi tape. And then my roses are made from this. I used really soft tissue inside of these to make my flowers from. Keith said I'm going to have to teach a class on this. So I don't exactly know how I'm going to mount her on here. I want it offset, obviously. And I may end up trimming it a little bit. I might end up cutting that with a die cut in like a round. I don't know yet, but I got to get everything to this stage before I can start. And then she'll go somewhere right in there. And then the back of it, I have mounted, I've just cut a circle, and I'll put something on top of here where I can sign it and date it and all the things. I miss Ramona's comment. Somebody says I agree. She agreed. Anyway, that's what's going out for my Christmas cards this year. And I have these little wreaths that I painted in all colors. Here's the purple, and these are embellished with genuine Swarovski crystals. These are from my private collection, honey. Look at this one, how pretty. And these are miniature enough you could even put this on nails. Wait, you see what we're going to put on these nails tonight. That, and then I have this little lady. I have some more of these that I've done. So yeah, I'm just trying to get creative with what's going on these. Not these, obviously. Maybe if you live in Florida, sunny, right? But that's what I'm doing with my Christmas cards. And then I have a little box that I ordered. Now, obviously, a dictionary is not acid-free. This paper is going to continue to deteriorate. But I ordered an acid-free box that I'll ship this out in, that as long as they leave it in the box when it's not on their tree, that I guess it will lengthen the life of it versus if you just stored it, I don't know, somewhere away. But if any of you guys have old sewing patterns, I'm almost out. I have very few of these remaining, and I use that tissue paper. I will buy them from you. Jamie says she hopes she's on the list. You know what, Rhonda? You make the time. You make the time. I haven't met too many of my neighbors that live by me, so I know up the street it lives Holly. She's a black Labrador, so I want this to go out to my neighbors with a little handwritten something in there. And you know what? That's how you make friends. That's how you make yourself friendly. I don't ever know what time I would need something living out here in the country, and that I need to call on a neighbor. And yeah, that's just how we do things. So I've been staying up to half the night. Let me tell you that. I didn't go to bed till 2 this morning. Child, that's why we didn't make it to early church. We went to 11 o'clock church and said early church. So, yeah. You've got some of the sewing patterns. Look, I'm going to run out of my dictionary here. I'm running out of dictionary. So yeah, let's get our little space. But anyway, on the video class, I hope that helps some of you. That's probably my number one requested class is, Miss Tracy, please go in depth on video. And the only way I can really do that is online. It's hard to do that in person and everybody stay together with me, if that makes sense. If you've been in any of my classes where I teach video work, you know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? Sometimes you just got to sit down and figure those things out. Look at my Christmas nails I'm working on, honey. I got one hand done and one hand not. Lord, I am wearing this green chrome that I'm loving this was from that set, the high chroma. Wait a second. What was that? Oh, here we go. These are my Omnichrome powders. And this green one, I'll tell you what color it is here. I don't watch TV, April. I can't do it. No, girl. This is called Shadow Loom. And she pretty. Now, I was listening to... we've been watching Keith's been watching some of the D-Day Memorial kind of stuff today, and I was listening to that a little bit ago, but I just don't sit down and watch TV. I have other important things that my brain is always on. So, yeah. Okay, here we go, Gigio. Let's look at our product for tonight. This is a Sugar and Spice watercolor palette. Our watercolors are made in the USA, and they're what contain what we call dense pigments. Dense pigments are also found in our high chroma. They're found in Velvet Touch. They're found in One Stroke. They're found in, what else? Whipped Cream. Are y'all following me there? When I say dense pigment, you know what I'm talking about. Dense pigment is when the pigments are very, very strong in something. I'm going to go ahead and I just got some water in here. I'm going to go ahead and hydrate these. And then I'm going to show you what we go paint with it. Now, the one nail I didn't quite get finished. But girl, she's pretty anyway. And with this, I have a decal option for tonight. They are, Jess. If you've not used these, the entire palette, let's talk about it before I move on. The entire palette is pearlized. And there's no duplicate of any color in here. There's a champagne, like a cinnamon, and then a salmony pink. I would say this is more like a burgundy, a white that has this chrome flaky to it, kind of like a petal pink, a buttercream, a rosy pink, and then a peony pink. And they are very, very saturated colors. With that, I'm going to do a hand-painted option, and I'm also going to do a decal option. We have only a handful of these left in stock if you don't have that. And that's called the Sugar and Spice Watercolor Palette made in USA. This is Antique and Gold Roses. Girl, she pretty. They lay super flat, super, super flat. And we're going to paint. Look what we're going to paint tonight. Oh, stop it, girl. Quit. Look here. I promise you, if you can place a decal, you can paint this tonight. It's all made up of pretty much triangle shapes, okay? If you can stamp, you can paint this. You just gotta you gotta concentrate just a little bit. Now here's the one that I've gotten the decal started on, and I want it to go around and do a little bit of edging that I could gold chrome, and I just didn't have time to do that before I came live. So let's do the hard option first, and then we'll do the easier options. That sound good to y'all? Your watercolors, if they loosen up inside your little cake here, no worries. Just drop you some water in there and let it rehydrate it and stick that down. Now, dense pigment watercolor does have the tendency to crack. That's not because your watercolor is bad. That's because the pigments are so close, so tightly knit in these watercolors that sometimes when they dry, it's like a cheesecake. Anybody ever made a homemade cheesecake and she cracked in the oven, honey? When that what causes that? Somebody tell me. She cooked too fast, didn't she? You know, when you cook a cheesecake, you got to put a little pan of water in there so she gets some steam off of it. She didn't have enough steam to stay hydrated, so she cracked without that water bath. It's the same thing with watercolors. Our handmade watercolors, if you know anything about watercolor and how the process is of it curing, once a watercolor is made, it has to cure for about 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks, depending on the time of the year that those watercolors are made before they can even be ready to send out to customers, clients, whatever. There is always that sit and wait and cure time. And if they're curing too fast, or if it's too dry, whatever, that can cause some crack. It just happens with watercolor. So it does not affect your ability to use those, okay? With that, I'm also going to use our watercolor pen. This is the long brush here. Okay, I got me 2 little butter pats. One I'm going to put acetone in for my gel, and one I'm going to put water in for the watercolor. The only other thing you need besides your watercolor is I'm going to be using a gel liner. You can use a black gel polish if it's super, super pigmented. If not, go into a liner or your gemstone gel for that. And then the last thing is white sugar paste, a little white whipped cream, and then I'm going to use, I still got this snow dust sitting here on my desk. I'm going to use her. Y'all ready? Let's do it. Let's do it. Y'all got your shopping done? You got all your Christmas plans made and all your dinner plans and what you gonna wear here and what you gonna wear that. Look, if you're a busy nail tech like I was behind the chair, honey, I didn't get to do any of that. I did people's nails so they could go places. Oh, goodness. That's the truth now. That is the truth. I'm going to put some white gel polish down. I prefer to paint on white because I get the true color from my watercolors. Now, these watercolors are 100% opaque, so you can even paint over black and they stay really nice and true to color. Whenever you're painting with your pearl watercolors, you have to use these a little bit more saturated. Oh gosh, Jess, still? I hate that. This is just water. That's funny, Donna. Little acetone so I can rinse my gel brush in here. Look, I can't tell you the people that have messaged me and said, Miss Tracy, we bought us a vinegar bottle to put our acetone in. You go, girl. You go get you one. You go get you one. Paper towel. I'm going to put my acetone that way, and I'm going to put my water this way so you guys can see what we're doing. Now, watercolor always, always, always has to go over velvet matte. Always, always. Not artistic matte. Artistic matte is not textured enough. Got to go over velvet matte so these little micro teeth in the velvet can hold your watercolor. And look, if you know watercolor is your jam, but you don't know how to start, just start by painting circles. Don't do anything but paint circles to get the feel of your watercolor. Okay, now we cure that. And I'm going to rinse my brush. I'm going to start a little palette here. Just on one of my throwaways. My background, the sky color is going to be made up. And look, your palettes are all the same. They're loaded in all the same order, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So here, and these have a color on them. If you turn it over on the back, I didn't turn mine over. I can't turn it over now. I've put water in it. I'm going to mix that until it's about the consistency of peanut butter, and then I'm going to pull that color off on my palette right here. Wash out my brush. Let's get a little bit of this one. This reminds me of the color of my doggie. Duchess, her color is changing. She's getting super, super dark. And her coat is changing a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to pop those three onto my palette. Now, you got to have a clean water and you got to have a dirty water because I'm going to use this. And if I pick up this with that, girl, she gonna change color. So I want a clean water for my lighter tones. Okay, Let's wipe our nail down with a little alcohol. And here we go. Whoopsie. All right, now that's not going to work. Hold up. Let's put her on a fresh one here. And I have cuticle oil on my hands, and I just pressed that tip on. You see how we kind of cross-contaminate there in the background of this nail. No two backgrounds are going to turn out alike because this water and watercolor flows in the direction that she wants to go, honey. And we either have to wait for the watercolor to dry or we have to make it dry. Let me show you what I dry mine with real fast. This is a Conair curling brush, and the brush portion pops off of there. I've never used the brush portion. This is what I use to move my alcohol ink on for my roses, for all the things. And look, she nice and quiet, and she has a very low form of air. It's not blasting like a hairdryer is. So you can use this around the fingers without burning the skin. Now it does have 125 degree and 100 or 250. I always keep mine on the 125. If you want it hotter, you can turn it up, but it's got both a low and a high. Okay, right there. The middle color in the palette is a white pearl iridescent. So I got this nearby. Plain water. You're welcome. And we're going to wet the area of our nail where we want our sky to be. And this is just water. You don't have to worry about this cross-contaminating your client's skin. Okay? So now back in that tinted water, I'm going to pick up a little bit of that color and I'm going to lay this into that wet sky. And this is how we get that really pretty flooding. I tend not to overdo. I would rather put it on too light and have to do a couple of coats than I would get it too dark. Because it's hard to remove it once you get it on there. Okay, now I'm going to go in this creamy buttery ivory. Stir that up. Oh, girl, that's too much paint now. And I'm going to drop that in between. Just a little bit. And now as that's starting to dry, I see that I want mine just a little bit darker. Not too much. And now we just kind of blend with a little bit of water. Now this is going to intensify as it dries. Okay. Remember, you got to let it dry, or you have to make it dry. Oh, she's going to be so pretty. Look here. Now my color's washing out a little because I got a lot of video lights going here. That's something that we will go over. Those of you that are going to do the video class with me, we'll kind of target a little bit of that. We're looking at a couple options now, video lighting wise, that won't wash out my colors so much. We're looking at it. So now I'm just going back and just going to kind of deepen in a couple of areas there. Not too much. That's good for me. That's good. Let me dry that real quick. Okay. Here we go. All right, that's our sky. Any questions on our sky before I move forward? I'm going to take that as a no, a yes, no, maybe, a no. All right, Christmas tree. A Christmas tree or a little pine tree is nothing except a triangle shape. All right, but when we paint that triangle shape, obviously we're painting it real tiny, and we're going to make the middle of our tree first. Look, I'm painting with the tip of that brush only, very tip of the brush. And so here's the middle of the tree. Okay, and then we go back in our watercolor. And if we were to draw an imaginary triangle around that, that's kind of what she would look like. And then we would just kind of color her in, but then we kind of have to make her look like a tree too. And this is not the right surface to paint on, but y'all are getting the idea there, right? So our trees are triangle shaped. Here we go. We're going to start with this. This is why I have color on my palette, so I'm not picking up so much out of here. If I work out of here with the trees, my tree's going to get too thick on me. All right, so now we pick up a little bit of this, hydrate it. Can y'all see okay? We're going to go up here in the sky where we've already dried, and we put the middle of that little tree in. And then we just do little feathers down the side, and down the side, until she looks like a little wobbly triangle. And there's tree number 1. Girl, quit. Won't you stop? And now maybe we switch colors and we do, actually let's mix a color. Let's take part of this and part of this and make a completely different color. There we go. And now we come just below. Always put your middle in first. Put your little straight line. And on either side, make that, just tap, 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 till it kind of forms a triangle shape. And these are the trees that sit in the background that look kind of foggy and kind of far away. That's our Whoville trees. Not really, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay, so now we go back in. Never put 2 trees the same color side by side. Maybe we go back over here and we're going to follow this little ridge line here. That wasn't planned that way, but as your watercolor dries, you just kind of follow how she goes. This one we're going to do a little baby one sitting here. A little bit more water. And so we just keep going right along here, and we add in all this little ridge line of these little baby trees. We come up into here, we're going to add some up here too. Because we don't know which way these little ladies are growing out here in the forest. What size is my brush? I'm using a watercolor pen. This is the watercolor pen, and I'm using just the tip of the brush. I've switched color. Maybe this one I do a little shorter. Look how easy. Girl, quit. Sometimes it's not that we can't do something. We just don't, our brain can't figure out how to wrap around that or how to start it. If we have somebody to show us, then we can go on and make all these little happy little trees sitting in the back of there. Thank you, Janice. We appreciate it. Y'all want to know something we got coming for 2026? Oh, should I say it? Because Keith don't know yet. He the money man. I have a 10-piece collector's brush coming for pro artists. Right now we have 3 levels of artists. We've got rookie, we've got intermediate, we got advanced. Then we kind of switch up to elite. which is the 4 levels, but there's actually a 5th level that we call a pro artist. And I've got a collection of 10 of my most favorite brushes that we've ever developed coming in a pro artist series. That if you only could have 10 brushes in your collection, these are the 10 that you should have. All right, so there's all of our little trees in the background. Look like some little teepees. Don't worry about that. Let's let that dry just a sec. Let me get a drink of water. They'll have their own little case, their own little everything with them. I'm very excited about the brushes. Okay. Now, where my sample went that I had painted, I do not know. Did she escape from me? Did she leave me, girl? Now, at this point, we are done with that watercolor background. We don't need her no more. Okay, so if we are switching from watercolor to gel, we have to pop in a barrier layer, which means we have to protect the watercolor in order to put the gel on. So I'm just going to do, what am I going to do? I'm just going to put a little bit more matte on, is what I'm going to do. Just a little. Your case is overflowing. Well, I hope you love these, and these ones will be easy. If you're traveling anywhere, just pick up your Pro brush kit and take that with you, and you don't have to try and take everything then. This week I'm working heavily this week on classes for 2026, both online and in person. I'll be reaching out to some of y'all that are watching tonight this week. We got a lot of irons in the fire. Okay, we're done with this watercolor, but I don't want to throw that away because I can use that for 10 years, right? On our palette, we've got our black gel liner. Now look, y'all, I'm notorious for mixing stuff together, honey. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to put some of the gel liner, and I'm also going to put, because I really need a texture of paint in between these two. I don't want it as liquid as the gel liner, but I don't want it as stiff as the black whipped cream. So I'm going to do the best of both worlds, and I'm going to combine these two, about equal parts of black whipped cream and black gel liner. Did you know you could do that? Girl, yes. Come on now. Get that background. So now we establish where Mama Tree is going to go. There is one tree that's the star of the show in this, and I don't want you to put her in the middle, because that looks very amateur. If your goal is to work towards a pro artist, guess what? I can help you. I can help you get there. But there are a few guidelines that you always want to follow when you're trying to get there. And number one is any focal point that you're painting should never go in the center of a nail. That looks like a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old has done it, first of all. Second of all, if I'm doing 2 ring fingers, I'm human. I will never get 2 exactly in the middle of each of those nails, will I? Will I? No, girl. So we're going to offset this a little bit. I've switched to my 9mm brush. And now let's make the spine or the trunk or whatever you want to say come over this way. And we're going to pop her in about right here. She's the star of the show. Okay, now I'm going to go with my 0, 0. And the same way we made these little foggy trees in the background. We're going to make her the same way, except we're using gel and not watercolor. Here we go. Short, tap, short, tap. And we make each little section of that longer so that we are in a triangle here. Same thing over here. Tap, tap, tap. A little bit more paint. Tap and tap. And there's the star of our show. Now, if you feel like you want to cure her before you go any further, you can. I do think I'm going to freeze mine about 10 seconds here because I've mixed this paint. I can do that. If that were pure whipped cream, I couldn't. So let's kind of freeze her into place there. And look, this is taking a little longer than I thought, so I may not get to the decal one. We'll see. We'll see, unless y'all want to hang around. Now we form the ridge line of trees. Okay, and we want those to go this way. So maybe we have one here. And they got to be short, honey. And maybe we have one here, here, here. We have one here. Sunny is an excellent watercolorist. She says we're hanging. Just as she got nowhere to go, honey. All right, now we do the same thing now that we've put that little ridge line in. And we just go let these trees run into each other. Look. Your eye is going to see these black trees before it sees anything else. And these little babies over here, same way. Touch, 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 and just let them come on down. This way. Some can be spindly. Oh, now to give the impression that we got something else going on, just pull in a few like this. Oh, like there's a few, I don't know, tree trunks kind of sitting back in there. Dead trees, right? And not to worry, we're going to put some snow action on Big Mama Tree here that will kind of distinguish her. Now, before we cure that, let's put in an imaginary fence line. A fence line, instead of going straight, needs to go this way. My daddy was really good at painting fence posts. I inherited another painting over Thanksgiving. I showed it to Erin. I don't know if she's watching tonight, but apparently my cousin had one of his very first paintings that he ever did, and she brought it and left it with my mom and said to pass it to me. So I would, not out of disrespect for him, I'd kind of like to paint something in that painting because he has signed it and dated it 1981, and I'd like to add something to it and then me sign it and date it 2025, and we have a painting that we've done together then. What y'all think about that? And now we're going to make our little fence post, and try not to make all of those straight. You maybe make some of those rails kind of going this way. See, y'all agree with me, don't ya? And now we just run that little fence on up into those trees. And somewhere down in here, we need some little pegs of grass showing through. And we're just going to paint that in black. About like that. You love the idea, Regina? Girl, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Oh, about like that. Now we're ready to cure. We haven't cured any of that. Let's put that in the light. Well, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. My last class that was here got to see his watercolor painting that he had painted and gave to me for a housewarming. And he had painted it quite some time ago too. I think it's dated 2001, I believe. Don't hold me to that, but early 2000s. But this one that was passed to me last week was one of his very first paintings, I'm sure. All right, that's in light. We're going to take us, we're done with that. We're going to take us a little bit of white whipped cream here. Pop this on our palette. Just a little tiny bit. And then we got our sugar paste. We're almost done with this one. Okay, we're going to seal this up in a shiny top coat. And when we put this Ladybug Luster on top of here, you guys, the pearl watercolor is going to go really pearl-like, metallic. It has this oyster-like look to it. Now we seal all of that up. You could leave it matte, but you won't get that pretty vibe. Hold on. Oh, girl. Look, I know she looks still a hot mess, but she's fixing to get defined and detailed. Let's cure. Next up, sugar paste. Does everybody know how to use your sugar paste? Honey, this stuff hard as a rock. And look, if you get this like on the sidewall or on the free edge, all you got to do is use a nail file. It comes off very easy with that. It's very easy to work with. I think it adds a nice texture. Just waiting on that to fully cure. I'm going to go into 00 brush. When you work with sugar paste, you need a short hair brush to pick up, right much of that out of there. Sugar paste almost has like a sandy texture to it. And this is what we make our snow with now. I really like to load up my brush. I don't like to lift the brush until I get off the nail. Did you notice I started here and I drug that all the way across there till I got right there? Look, I got plenty of product, but I'm going to reload that product. And maybe my next snow drift, I'm going to take it down into here. And I'm just going to take this off the bottom of the nail. Now look, where our tumbleweeds are, I'm going to go right over top of that. And then I'm going to clean out my brush and do what's called a wipeout technique. Oops, got a little product there. So now where the tumbleweeds are, just take a little acetone and expose your little grassy areas. We got one right there. That way we're not purposely, trying to go around them. We got another one down in here somewhere. And that brush is a little bit soft at taking that out of there. Oh, child, I almost picked up the Beetle Box item again. I almost did it on the last class too. Honey. Let's go with our little art gel brush here. There we go, GGO. And so now our little tumbleweeds are exposed just ever so slightly. And there's our snowy texture. We're going to cure that. And we're done with that. It is beautiful, isn't it? I cannot find, I must have dropped my sample nail when I was showing y'all my my little ornament I was working on here. Because I painted her up to have for y'all to look at. Girl. Okay, that's done. Now we're going to take our white whipped cream and watch. On top of our fence post, snow would naturally gather there, wouldn't it? White whipped cream is whiter than white sugar paste. So just tap, tap, tap. On the high points of your sugar paste, can y'all see that there? I'm going to take a little bit of that white whipped cream on a different brush. I might have to get some more. And I am going to go right over top and brighten some of this, the high parts of the snow. Just like that. I'm going to get a little bit more whipped cream. Look, Keith in here crawling on the floor, see if he can find my nail. Child.
She got me down on my knees.
Look, he said he had to stay on his knees to keep me on my toes. Now, here's where the beauty comes in. We're going to give our tree that's offset, we're going to float some snow on her little wings and branches here. Watch. Pop on the top, press, and let up on the pressure. And this is where we can extend that tree and make those branches come out a little bit more. It's all an illusion. Look at there. It's not that way. It's the pine tree scene. I had it with that one. And now we're going to do one right here, kind of like she's in the middle, and press. And press here, press, and let up on the pressure. And we continue this all the way down the nail. And each time we have that little triangle get bigger. You see, the snow is going way outside the original triangle that we laid in there, isn't it? If you do better, you know, putting your end branches on first, knock yourself out, honey. But you got to have some in the middle too, because that's how the snow drifts and kind of falls. Oh, girl, quit. Quit. And now if you want to sugar, which I do, let me move my stuff out the way so I don't get glitter in everything. I'm going to snow dust it. And these high areas that I hit down in here with that little bit of whipped cream is also going to get snow dusted. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my goodness. Look at there. Ooh, honey. Let me just give you a look-see real quick. Let me hold it still. Isn't that beautiful? And now we cure and she's done. In the light we go. Let me put the paper towel down. I don't like to work on a paper towel, but considering... There we go. Cure for 60. Yep. Let's start our other nail here real quick. If y'all don't mind hanging with me. If you don't mind. Okay, same thing. We're going to start with a white nail. You could do all kinds of other colors on here as well, but if you want to see the watercolor, you're going to have to start on a white nail. You're not going nowhere. Let me get a drink of water. Here we go, Gigi-O. All right, we're going to cure. Oh, and our masterpiece is done here that's in the light. She done. Oh, let the camera focus real quick. And she's finished. And this was called the Sugar and Spice watercolor palette. Also, the decals I'm using are Antique Gold and Roses in our decals. All right, let's go with a little bit of Velvet Matte, and then we'll place our decal first. I missed your, did you have a question, Lynn? I must have mixed it. I must have missed your question. I'll try to watch out for it if you'll ask it again. Oh, child, my matte top coat getting way, way down in my bottle. All right. Y'all know me and my decals. I like to take them off the sheet with my X-Acto knife. I tear them less than I do with tweezers. I guess I'm heavy-handed with tweezers. I don't know why. This has lots of different sizes of decal. It's got some really pretty text too. Here's one that says beautiful, rose, beauty. And the good thing about the holiday season is, even though we're using this for Christmas, this is also Valentine colors. I think that's why God made Christmas, Valentine's Day next door to each other, so we can still use that red gel polish for Valentine's Day that we're using for Christmas. So I like to just kind of get up underneath here with my X-Acto knife and pull these off. They're really, really sticky. So whatever you do, don't touch the back of it, because you'll get the oil from your fingers on there. Wipe our nail down. Oopsie. Make sure that's dry before you place your decal. And look, mine done folded over. Oh, Lord. I don't know if I can save it. Hold on. Oh, yes, I can. I got one that's going to go that way. I know where I lost my tip now, because this is the stand that my other nail tip wasn't fitting on. And I took my sample nail off to use the stand. I'm going to do one more here, kind of up close and personal with that one. Let's go this direction. We'll find our nail tip when we least expect it. I want these really, really close, so they're almost like one cluster. I'm going to overlap that decal slightly. You know you can do that, right? Look at there, how pretty. Oh, honey. All right, and now we seal it up with matte. Make sure she's laying down real nice, that you don't feel anything sticking up before you seal that. I'm not going to get enough matte out of there to do it. Let's see if I got another one. Oh, child, I might have to open me one. Let me open me a fresh one. I got you, boo. Don't you love when you get to open a new bottle? Because you've been fighting with that stuff to get it out of the bottle. She gone. She gone. Brand spanking new bottle. And here we go, Gigio. Nice, generous layer. You don't want a streaky, thin, dry brushed layer over top of your decals. You can't do it. You have to have that substantial matte layer so everything lays flat. You know what I'm saying? And now we're going to cure her. And look, we've got plenty of paint left right here. We don't even have to go back into that palette. Let's let that fully cure before we go anywhere else. Let's find us a chrome palette while that's curing. Let's see here. I just need gold. Anything that's got gold, I'll take. Oh, triple crown. Triple crown. All right, when that comes out of the lamp, you're going to feel of that. If you can feel, I feel a little bit something right there. If you can feel anything, take you like a softer type of buffer, not a roughy buffer. I don't need something rough there. I just need that to smooth down ever so slightly. And I don't want to rematte top coat it. If I use a rough buffer, I'm going to etch that. And then I'll have those little etch marks in it. There we go. I'll switch my tip holder here. Oh, that one's even worse, girl. Quit. There we go. All right, watercolor pen. She looks like that. Water. And I'm going to go with this kind of dark one from our palette. And you're going to sneak this up in the nooks and crannies of these roses. There, you're going to go down into here. And now using just a little bit of water, I want you to fade that. The art of using a decal and using it the right way is so that it blends into whatever that you are painting, obviously, in your background. Look already. Girl, quit. Maybe we tuck in a little bit right here. We want it to all become one piece of art. You don't want to pick out the background from the decal. Now go into this lighter pink. And I'm going to work in a tiny bit of that. A little bit there. Tap. These decals are beautiful, by the way. If you have somebody who really doesn't want Christmassy nail art, but they still want something festive, this would be perfect for that. Now, I'm just kind of mixing back and forth here. I'm just picking up little bits and pieces of all of these colors that I have laid out. And now just kind of fade that out. How pretty. Oh, honey. Just a little bit more. I'm so picky. I'm just so picky. There we go. Look how beautiful. Now, if you got some green watercolor and you want to fade those leaves out, go ahead. I wouldn't, because green is the dominant color that we've got on here. And sometimes your eye wants to see that before it sees the floral. Okay. Thank you, Shannon. How are you? Okay, let's dry. Really, really pretty. Use this at your pedicure chair. Beautiful for the big toe. Now, I am going to go into this white one. First of all, you got to make sure you have a clean water and a clean brush to use that with. Let's drop us a little bit more water in here. Pearl watercolors really eat up the water. Okay, now we're going to mix all of those sparkly goodness down into that watercolor. And I'm going to pull a little bit of this out on the palette. That's too much, but at least it's there. Now, wherever I want to highlight my rose, like this petal is already turned backwards, I'm going to put a little bit of that right there. You got one here that's kind of turned backwards. And just wash it out so it's not super, super harsh, but look. Oh, honey. That's beautiful. Little there, little here, little here. And that's all. Now, if you want to tuck in some chrome flakes, anything like that, you can. But remember, these decals are metallic, and we won't see that until we put the final top coat on it. Here we go. And I was gonna put some chrome on here. I'm not certain I'm gonna do that now because that is so pretty. So before I decide that, I want to put my top coat on, and because this is watercolor and decals and the whole 9 yards, this has to be sealed with your metallic glaze before you top coat it. The number one reason is because your top coat will peel off there, but number two, watercolors, when we test watercolor here at the Mobile Manicurist and Queen Ladybug, we're looking to see if it's color fast. What that means is if I do this nail sample and I lay this out in sunlight for 24 hours and I bring it back in, I'm going to do 2 of those samples. I'm going to leave one inside in the dark and I'm going to have the other one outside. And that one I bring in from outside, when I compare it to the one I've left in the dark, if the colors are the same, then I know my watercolor is color fast and it's not going to fade. Metallic glaze has a UV protectant in it that will help it from fading even more. It can still fade if your client is in a chlorine swimming pool. The chlorine helps fade it, plus the sunlight from the pool will help fade it. So always, always, always seal your watercolor with metallic glaze, whether you're going to shiny top coat it or leave it matte. Now I am going to matte mine, but I'm going to go back and I'll show you what I'm going to do here in a sec. I'll show you what I'm going to do. Let's cure that. But I'm going to need some shiny top coat because I'm going to spotlight part of this nail with a shiny top coat. It is beautiful, isn't it, Tammy? And for a $6.99 sheet of decals, and this is the same, looks like kind of the same pattern repeating over. There's even one that's got a little yellow in it, but several sizes on here that I love, honey. I just love it with this palette. Oh, and y'all, look what I got at Michael's. I only got 2. They were 50% off. They were $2.99. It's a chalkboard ornament, but this is going to be perfect like for some one stroke. Yes, honey. All right, velvet matte. Make sure I got a nice generous layer. And then I'm going to cure that. On my little palette, some Ladybug Luster so I can kind of spotlight my highlighting where I want that to be. And then this one's done. Any questions? She's going to be beautiful. I already know it. I already know it. A little alcohol. Now my spotlight highlighting, 9mm brush. And over those bright gold areas, look, that's what I'm going to spotlight. What happens when I just pop that on there? And this is really no rhyme or reason to the pattern of that gold. So I'm just kind of letting my brush sort of dot that around. We do not have that in stock currently, Sunny. That's two of the colors that we're having remade in our HEMA-free, TPO-free formula. That will most likely be out with the spring release. Only because we're out of bottles and we have to have 10,000 bottles made. So if we're going to have 10,000 bottles made, we have to wait and kind of save up and order all that at once. Look how pretty. Child. Also being made in our HEMA-free TPO is, I know y'all going to love this, is No Reason to Be Shy. And so now we've just kind of video, photo, highlighted, spotlighted, anything that's metallic under here. And that's done. I love this. I love the whole look about it. It's very Victorian. Isn't that beautiful? And how different is that? You would never know it's not hand painted. So let's cure that. And then let's look at these together, even though this is my sample that I didn't quite get done. Technically, I feel like you could wear these together if you had the right gel polish shade to go with this. If you're lucky enough to have red hot jalapeno, red hot jalapeno, I don't even want to show you, but I want to show you because it's the perfect match for this palette. And we don't have that one anymore. She's sold out, honey. She is gone. Matter of fact, Valerie needed some not long ago. She said, girl, you got this color? I said, no, I don't have it. But it was one of those early on cat eyes that would be the perfect match for this. Can sugar paste go over shiny or matte? Sure can. Sure can. Sugar paste has its own color, its own top coat, its own texture, its own base coat. Everything is built in with that. Jamie, don't you think it'd be the perfect match? I do. Another little something I'm working on for 2026. Look, in December and January, if most suppliers, your sales will slow down in December and January. So that's the 2 months that I use to get my class calendar up and going, to, kind of hone in on some plans and tie up loose ends on plans. One of the plans coming for next year is a Stoneworks kit that I've been working on that will allow, if you love painting gemstones, amethyst, jasper, whatever the case might be, this is a new concept on some paint that we're doing for our stonework kit, that you can just pick up this box of paint and create any gemstone look from it. Now, can you use it for other things besides your stonework? You can, but it's specifically, that's what we're designing that for. And I'm actually seeing a little bit of that in the background of my nail here for some reason, because I've already been testing and working with that product. But look at this, how pretty. Isn't that beautiful? You know, it's hard to be a nail tech in 2025 and not do art. Look here, I dropped that in. To stay competitive, you're going to have to get some art under your belt, whether it's stamping, decals, hand painting, whatever the case might be. And if you can do decals and have them look like this, you don't need to be a hand painter, right? Everybody needs a style to their artwork. So maybe you're a master at applying acrylic, but your hand painting is off. Then don't try to paint roses. Maybe stonework is your thing. So I'm hoping 2026 we can hone in on some of those for you guys. It would be a gorgeous, gorgeous set. Any questions? This is so pretty. Okay, real quick, the decal we used is right up above. She's here. Our watercolor palette is, I know these are super limited. Keith, do you have a quantity check on these? And if I don't know if I can turn this over if it's dry enough, but colors is on the bottom right here, girl. Look here. Yes. Watercolor palette, $69. What else did we use? Sugar paste. These are only in our 6-piece set, but our restock on this is coming, and these will all be in open stock that you guys can get. White, black, blue, whatever. We are open stocking these. Coming back in stock pretty soon is our IntelliCure. She sold out. She coming back. I know what I was supposed to show you. Hold on. I don't even know where. Oh, yes, here she is. Restocked is our Peach Manicure Pre-Wash. Y'all loved this. This was a Beetlebox exclusive. This is going to come into core inventory. Also restocking this week are Scrub and Hand Silk, I believe, in 6-packs. We'll restock this week sometime when that gets here. You're very welcome. Listen, I hope y'all try these. Hope you got you some goodies. Hope got your watercolor pad. I love the Scrub too. What do we need in a refill size? This right here, the Peach Manicure Pre-Wash. We can make that happen if that's what you're talking about. Yeah, we can make it happen. How many of y'all start your manicures with this? Do you know how to use it? Girl, quit. She smell like peaches. And technically, this is what you do. When they sit down at your station, before you sanitize, this is your sanitizer. You can sanitize on top of it if you want to. But you start your manicure pre-wash in around all of that cuticle area, and this starts to help kind of soften things and get you on the right track for setting up your service. Now, typically, I would do a little bit more, and then I send them to the sink and I say, now go all over with your manicure pre-wash and wash before you come back to my station. Okay. Cuticle pins in peach. Yep, we can, let me check into that. We have just reordered our Queen Ladybug cuticle oil in the red bottle. Now, if you don't have a sink, you don't need water to rinse that with either. You can just take a paper towel and like this. We have reordered our Queen Ladybug berry vanilla cuticle oil. That should be here sometime after Christmas. Girl, I ain't gonna say when, because this shipping about to get the best of me. So yeah, this is really nice to start your manicure service with. And then once you're done with your nails and you oil, you can use some of the scrub if you would like. Send them to the sink and then come back and do your massage. People like to be pampered. They like to have that little bit of extra. They like to know you're going to go the extra mile on their service and not just slap a little oil on and send them out your chair. Okay. Yes, that was the cuticle oil in 13 Days of Halloween. I have that right here. This one is on reorder now. This will also be available in a 6-pack in case you want to retail this in your salons or to your clients. You can get a price break if you buy it in the 6-pack. It's the best. This one you want in a pen also, Angela? I can ask. Which one, Jamie? The red one is a hit in your salon? Girl, I love this. If you did not get the Halloween box, she's pink. And this is a berry vanilla. It's a very, very softly scented cuticle oil, but it is essence cuticle oil. It's a double essence. That means it has more than one kind of oil in it. Okay, good, good. Geneva, this one in a cuticle pen also. Look, girl, y'all putting me to work now. You hear them, don't you, Keith? What else? You got other product requests while we're talking here? Girl, quit. I love, love, love that oil. Love the hand cream. So once you've done your gel manicure, then before you cuticle oil is where I would use your scrub and your hand silk. Yeah. The body silk. This is restocking this week. We just stocked this in the 6-packs and they sold out. Geneva, if you did not get yours, I apologize because I was talking to you the day we were putting this on in the 6-packs and then they got gone really quickly. So this will be stocking hopefully tomorrow or Tuesday in our 6-packs as soon as we see our delivery truck here. And tomorrow we're in for some snow. Nothing like Alaska. It's going to shut us down in the morning, honey. That and this will also be stocking in our 6-packs this week. And you'll be able to save, save some money with your 6-pack in case you want to retail that. You want the peach and the oil in the red bottle made in the pens. Girl, I'll take that into consideration. We don't make our top coat in refill, Rhonda, and I'll tell you why is as you're top coating, your bottle gets contaminated. It gets little pieces of glitter or little pieces of stuff that settle down in here. So when you're refilling your bottle, you are refilling into a contaminated bottle. So it has the possibility to break your top coat down if there's too many contaminants in there. Is why that we don't make that in a refill. We want you to have that fresh bottle so that there's no service breakdown anywhere. I know. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But this is your finishing product and you don't want to polish a French manicure with this and you have silver glitter stuck in the white French tips because it was in your top coat. I always used a separate top coat for my glitters. Anything else? Anything else? And hand silk, girl, she my favorite. Look here. This has hardly any fragrance to it at all, but it is a really nice hand cream to finish with. Yes, girl. Finish that manicure and make it look beautiful. Any other questions? Any other product request? Is it on your nightstand, Maria? My 24 karat gold serum is on my nightstand, but I don't have my hand cream up there and I need to take it up there. Hold on just a second. I'm going to turn y'all back around here. Let me back off. Let me back off. There we go. There we go. Yay. One of the things that I was talking to Keith about earlier today, and if you got to go, I totally understand. You can slip out, but we don't really make New Year's resolutions. We try to have goals instead of resolutions. And I told him today, I said, I am not good at taking care of my own self. So that's one of my goals coming up. I need to be exercising, and I just don't have the time. I am stretched so thin. What little bit of exercise I get is not enough. And I need to make a commitment to taking better care of me. Is anybody else like that? Like, I take really good care of my teeth. I'm telling you, I got a teeth cleaning next week. That girl won't have to do nothing. I am immaculate at doing that. I take okay care of my skin. I need to do better. I got all the stuff. I just don't do it. I take my makeup off and throw on a little moisturizer, but do I put the serums and all the things I should be using? No. So that's one of the goals for me next year, is to take better care of my body, because I feel like when we're taking care of our body, we're taking care of our spirit and our mental self, and all the things kind of line up with that. Is anybody else where I'm at, or is it just me? I feel like sometimes we get very overwhelmed with the hats that we wear as business owners, and it doesn't leave a whole lot of room in the mix for anything else. Jess told you that? Yeah. So see, I'm not that. Kimberly, you're there. Kathy, you're there. Carlette is there. Valerie is there. Shannon is there. And I eat fairly healthy. Keith said today, he's like, I need something sweet. I said, I don't know why we so fat, because I don't do any baking. I don't have any cookies in this house. I don't have any candies in this house. I have nothing sweet here. I just don't buy it. And we both still struggle. It's genetic for us. And, I don't know if I shared with you, but when my dad turned 55, he had 3 heart attacks within a couple of days of each other of his 55th birthday. And then when he passed, he had 3 or 4 strokes in the mix of all of that too. It's genetic for us. He's one of 10 children, and all of them died with either a heart attack or a stroke. So it is genetic. And my sister, younger than me, that had the episode on Black Friday, she had a seizure when they were out doing their Black Friday shopping. And after she stayed the night in the hospital, they discovered she's had a stroke at some time. Is it cerebellum stroke? They can't tell how old it is. They can't tell when it's happened, but she suspects it happened when she injured her arm, and that is genetic for us. So that's something that I'm always going to be fighting against, to keep my body healthy and to keep my pressures down. I greatly struggle with my blood pressure staying elevated. So yeah, we got to do it, girls. Who's with me? Who wants to be accountable and help us monitor our own well-being? I'm seeing a bunch of thumbs up there. Yeah, a whole bunch of people. Keith, do you see that?
No, no.
You said you don't know nothing. So yeah, we got to do it, y'all. We got to take care of ourselves, and that helps us take care of our business. That helps us take care of our families, because when we look at the structure the economy is headed in, we are not. Look, my dad retired at 55. I can't even dream. I'm past 55. I'll never be able to retire it. I won't even be able to retire at 65, honey. So that's the kind of things that we are facing economy-wise. And, we struggle because both of us are self-employed, and we private pay our health insurance. And our quote to keep our health insurance, the same plan that we have, is going to triple. It's like making a second freaking mortgage payment. So, Keith's been all over online, talking to brokers, all kinds of stuff, trying to find us a comparable health insurance. And you know what? It looks like we're going to have to go down to a catastrophic health insurance plan in order to be able to afford something as a self-employed couple. So all of those things in the mix make you, and I'm not saying that because I want anybody's sympathy, because we're all facing that, aren't we? We are all in the same boat with that. I am saying that to say that just another reason to keep ourselves healthy and get ourselves healthy where it needs to be, right? Yeah. So what skincare line do I use? I can never say it. You can buy it at Target, but it's locked up. Is it La Roche-Posay? Something like that. It's in a blue and white bottle. I use their cleanser, I use their moisturizer, and then I use the night serums. The L'Oreal Midnight serums are incredible. And I just got their day serum, Maria. They've got a new one. It has a double cell in it. It's like a metallic gold and a creamy. Look, it's better than any high-end skincare that I've ever used. So I love both of those. So yeah, we just got to do it. We got to take care of ourselves and our body and all the things. I didn't mean to get to preaching there. Yeah, it does get pricey. I was using Dermatology, and their needleless serum is really good, but it was getting like really, really pricey. And in the wintertime, it's like I'm using double. So Brooklyn told me about this one and let me use some of hers, and it actually proved to do very, very well on my skin. Any other questions? I know Hillary and I have thought about doing something for y'all close to Christmas. We thought maybe our last Sunday night is it the 21st, Keith? That last Sunday night of December before Christmas, we may do a little Christmas concert for y'all, play some music, that kind of thing. Oh, Keith is reminding me, New Year's Eve nail art retreat. I believe we only have 9 kits left. If you're on the fence about that and you want that leopard bag, I believe there's 9 left, 9 or 10, somewhere right around there. It'll be gone before another week because they're popping in every week. And then next week the 16th, I believe, whatever the 16th is on, 16th, 17th, right around there, then those kits start shipping out to you. So we hope you want me to play piano? Yeah, girl, what you want me to play? Play some Christmas music. How's that? See if Hillary will come and sing some for us. But all of our educators, if you're watching and if you're an educator for New Year's Eve Nail Art Retreat, we're sending you a complimentary swag bag. So yes, anything I want. Okay, boo. Okay. My piano tuner coming next week. Darla's got to be spayed next week on Thursday. So, that should be an adventure. Last week she ate a red cardinal off the Christmas tree. We never did find the head. We've just gotten Dutchie through a brush with death that we still don't know what caused it, because I don't have things out that they can get into. It's just not how I operate. So for her, they still didn't know what happened. But Darla ate the head off a red cardinal, and it was like a toddler. Did you eat that? Because she had red feathers stuck all to her lips, and it was like, no, I didn't eat that. Are you looking at me? So yeah. And then she chewed up something else. I forget what it was major that she chewed up. So I don't know how her spay is going to go Thursday. I know she'll be knocked out a little while from drugs, but I don't know how I'm going to keep her still because she is just into everything. So yeah, I'm hoping her spay will calm her down just a little bit. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I'll keep posted on that. I'll see you Wednesday night. If you guys have a request for behind the chair artwork, quick and easy, I know we've done snowflakes, we've done some watercolor, we've done a few decals, but if there's something that people are requesting that you're having to turn away, let me know because I'll do that. Is Crystal watching? Crystal, are you here, love? Crystal asked me last week, would I please do an icy nail? So that's on the docket for Wednesday night. We're doing icy nails Wednesday. Okay. Look, I love y'all. Y'all have a great week. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.